night, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Dialogue with the Diaspora. I am your host, Diane Haylock. In this first segment, we will be talking to a member of the diaspora who has done an exceptional job of providing positive sports development programs for young Belizeans during the holidays. I welcome with great pleasure Cleon Hyde of Rose Classic International. Cleon, it's great to have you. Tell us a bit about your Belizean roots.
Yes, well, I was born in Belize on the south side, actually Mex Avenue to be exact. My father was a well-known Belizean man. His name was Eldred Hyde. Everyone known him as Rubbage. And my mother came from a large family. She was from the Myvick family. And I grew up right at the corner of Mex Avenue and what the area they call the Stanford Bridge. I attended Queen Square. And after finishing Queen Square, we migrated to the US. I lived in California for a few years and eventually moved to New York.
How long since you migrated?
Since 1982.
Okay.
So I've been gone for a while, but I visit Belize yearly. So it's not, I may not live there, but I do visit quite often.
It's like you never left Belize.
Right. My heart is still in Belize. My body is in the States, but my heart is in Belize.
So tell us a bit about your basketball background.
I played basketball here in the States at the high school level, a little at the college level. Also, I joined up with a close friend of mine, and what we have done, we have organized basketball tournaments. And we are sponsored by Nike. So everything that we do is basically under the Nike umbrella. So when this situation came about, I spoke to my friend and I said to him, hey, listen, I would love to do what we're doing here. I would love to do it in Belize. And I got the approval. I started out as a test run. I didn't know too much of what the basketball community was like in Belize. So I reached out to a gentleman by the name of Brad Neal, and he introduced me to a few other individuals. And I started out in April of 2006. That was my first year. Basically, it was a word of mouth. I only had 80 uniforms, so I could not surpass that amount. The turnout was tremendous, just through the word of mouth, and it went well. It became
what kind of numbers turned out for that first try?
Well, for the first try, we had over 100 kids, but I only had 80 uniforms because I didn't expect so much of a large turnout.
You said 80.
80, yes, 80. And the turnout was tremendous that it was something that the word was spreading countrywide. I had kids from Corozal, Orange Walk that, they came with their friends, and it turned out to really, really was something great for that first year. So I came back, I went to the drawing board. I said to myself, I'm gonna need more uniforms. I spoke to my partner, and he basically said to me, he said, hey, whatever you need, we'll give it to you because what you're doing is great, and I can see the love and the passion that you have in your eyes for Belize. You talk about Belize a lot. So the following year, I did 160 uniforms, so we accommodated 160 kids. That was the second year. And what happened at that time, and it was basically catered to high school kids. So what I started to see, there were a lot of kids that were in primary school that would come around and basically wanted to play, but they couldn't wait to get to high school. So for my third year, I decided, you know what? I'm going to increase the number, but I'm going to make two divisions. I'm going to do high school and I'm going to do a primary school division. So it increased it from 160 to 240 kids. So
Wow.
now you can imagine 240 kids at Bird's Eye
I can
with,
imagine.
with,
Yes.
with me being in charge, and you're getting kids from all walks of life. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to do something different. I didn't allow kids to come in as neighborhood, you bring your kids from your neighborhood. What I did, I had everyone basically sit in a circle. And what I did, I picked kids from various neighborhoods. So now you would have a team that would consist of maybe two kids from Belama, another two kids from the Queen Square area. I would sprinkle maybe another kid that lived somewhere in the Fort George area. And I did this because I wanted the kids to build friendship. One of the things that I noticed in Belize, kids were becoming scared of leaving their neighborhood.
Yes.
They did not want to travel outside of their neighborhood for various reasons. It could have been violence, it could have been other things. And I wanted them to say that I have a friend that lives in Belama. I have a friend that lives in Ladyville. I have a friend that lives in Fort George area. I have a friend that lives in the Caribbean. So I wanted to build friendship along with basketball.
And that's a very important goal, I think, to ensure that our children do become friends, because as you observed, we're somehow or the other more isolated from each other as we used to be when we were growing up ourselves. Yeah.
Right, correct.
Yeah. One of the fascinating things for us is here is when school closes, we see dozens of young boys running towards Bird's Eye for a chance to participate in Rose Classic. And as you've said already, you've had to keep increasing your numbers from year to year because of the huge interest, that it has generated. How do you continue to deal with that? Because I'm sure that more children, more young boys come year after year, and I don't suppose there is this bottomless pit of funds that you can draw on to do this.
Right. Well, also let me also emphasize that in my second year, I added girls.
Excellent.
I had, because, the parity between the boys and the girls it's not a level playing field. So I wanted to make sure that I'm giving the girls an opportunity. And I did get a good turnout the first year. And I made sure that I created time for them. So it also allowed, open the doors for more girls to come on in and not to be afraid.
I am particularly pleased to hear that, Cleon, because oftentimes when we talk about sports, in fact, the majority of times when we talk about sports, we talk about boys, and that is unfair. That is just not right. Yeah.
Right. Also, during the process I reached out to, several other individuals. I must say that two individuals really, assisted me in getting this stuff off the ground too. Was the then mayor at the time, her name, was Zenaida Moya. When I ran the proposal to her for assistance, she was more than happy to help. Also at the time, her deputy mayor was Dean Samuels, also a friend. He helped as well. And it even transitioned on to when she was no longer in office, the following mayor, which was Darrell Bradley, he assisted as well. So, and what I allowed them to do is to come and be a part of it. I didn't just tell them what it's about. I made sure that every time that we were there, we had an opening ceremony, we had a prayer, we had the Archbishop, Bishop Wright came out and he gave us a prayer. And I allowed them not to just read about it, but to actually be physically a part of it. And that was what was important to me. I also try to cover certain grounds outside of just having the kids playing basketball. I once remember we also raised and donated. The figures was, quite it was over $1,000, and we donated as a part of what we did to the Belize Cancer Society. We did that, I think in 2011 was the first year that we did that. So we were able to, donate a check from us. And it was something that, it was not just my efforts alone. There was a lot of people that helped. The kids also played a huge part. I told them every penny counts. Don't be afraid. If you only have a penny and you decide to give that to me, I will greatly accept that. So that played a part.
If we're to focus a bit, Cleon, on the specifics then of your program, what would you say is involved in the full program?
It's a mentorship for kids through basketball. But it was basically, let me rephrase that. It's basketball with a touch of mentorship and acknowledgement of, the kids of Belize. And it's a safe environment away from being distracted by negativity. And that's the reason why I choose to do it during the Easter break, because the kids are out of school. And for that 2 weeks, they're safe. They're under my mentorship. I have a good relationship with every kid. I may forget a few names here and there, but I have a great relationship with them. And even when they got too old and they left, they would still come and assist. They would help. They would spend a little time with us during the course of the day. They would talk to the younger kids. So basically, it's like a brotherhood that I have developed. And to this day, they still speak to each other. They're still in cahoots with each other. They have not just gone their separate ways after basketball. I've now seen them playing in the upper leagues of Belize. They're playing in the pro leagues in Belize. I've had a couple kids who to get scholarship came to the States and played, and now they have returned home. So, that was my whole reason for wanting to do this. I never looked at any financial gain because it wasn't what I wanted. I just wanted to have that happiness to see the kids' face. And that's what meant so much to me.
So through your lens, what sort of impact has Rose Classic had on the participants and the communities, where these young people come from?
Well, the impact that it had, it gave them hope. It let them know that, there's someone out there that cares about me. Because my conversations with them go a little bit further than just basketball. I speak to them about life, and I let them know, hey, listen, you might not have it all at your disposal, but that should not deter you from wanting to be the best you. And I also let it be known that there are little things in life that you have to practice, and those are the things, hey, we're going to start at 8. We're not going to start when you get here. We're going to start at 8. We're going to start at 9, and those are the little things that's going to go a long way in their lives, which is, it was implemented through basketball, but it also plays a role in their everyday life. Being on time, being mannerly, speak with a proper tone. Don't be angry. Understand that winning means something, but it's not everything. And those are the things that I've had with them. There are many kids that I saw that may have been going on the wrong side, that what I would do is I would drive them home. We would drive together. I'm going to give them a ride home. Hey, jump in the back of the vehicle. Me and you, I'm going to take you home. And I would take them home, and I would speak to them. And one thing I will say about kids, they tell the truth. They'll tell you what they have, what they don't have, whatever happened. And that was the way I was able to get into many conversations. And I still follow up with a lot of them to this day. I mean, it's a shame that I just couldn't be there.
Yeah,
Year-round.
last year, for instance, I am assuming that you were unable to do the program because of COVID.
Right. When I had to cancel, I broke the word, and oh man, it was devastating to me, and it was devastating to them. And I told them just to stay tight. Everything should be okay. Just we have to practice safety. We're facing a pandemic, and they understand. They reach out to me on Facebook just to say hi. They tell me how much they miss playing basketball. I mean, we were ready to go. I mean, I had shipped all the barrels. Everything was ready. I had the date set. And the pandemic just changed the course.
Looking ahead at 2021,
right, looking ahead.
If we think positive, we're certainly hopeful that you will be able to return this year and get the program back on its feet. What are your thoughts about this year?
Right. I would be all for it, but at the same time, I think we have to also, I don't want to put any of my kids or myself in harm's way.
Absolutely.
So basically, it would be great, but I think that to be extremely safe, I would say 2022. Because I don't think we have turned the corner as yet. I've seen improvement, but I don't think we have turned the corner. And it will be so devastating for me to hear that one of the kids that were part of my program, contracted COVID and passed. Yeah, that would.
It's always better to be safe than sorry.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And there's one more thing I want to implement. What I've done for the last couple of years, there's a basketball group. They're called the Amadea. Before they started, they came and they sat down with me, and they asked me my input on certain things about basketball and how am I able to have so many kids in one environment, and there's no fights, there's no argument, there's nothing. It's just competitive basketball. And I broke it down to them, and I said to them, hey, if you follow my guide, you will be okay. So now they have started something over at SJC Gym. And the one thing that I said to them, as long as we don't have a timing conflict, we should be fine. I encourage you guys to do it. I was able to supply them with some uniforms for the first year, and they seem to be doing pretty well right now. And I must say that, I support them 100%. They're very great. There's a great group of guys that are doing it. And now what this has also done, I did a total shift now that I am doing all girls right now. That's what I'm doing, all girls. And now it's the Rose Classic Skills Academy. And I have my first year with the girls only, I had 75 girls. The following year, which was 2019, I had 105 girls that showed and participated in it. So
that is
I'm
really
giving them an opportunity.
That is excellent news to hear. Unfortunately, I have to say goodbye to you, and I want to thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart for the wonderful work that you are doing.
Okay, thank you. Well, I just want to say, to everyone, that just stay safe, wear your mask, social distancing, and eventually this too shall pass,
Yes.
Belize, I love you. I love everyone in Belize. That's my home. Like I tell everyone, I just work in the States. My heart belongs in my country of Belize.
And we look forward to having you back when we get the green light for you to be back here.
Oh yes, I can't wait. I would love to, get back to Belize and continue with my work. So thank you so much.
Cleon, we believe, is a remarkable person. Young men in Belize City have shared with us their excitement whenever Rose Classic kicks up and how much the program has nurtured their athletic skills and personal discipline. We look forward for a replication of initiatives like this one all across Belize. Viewers, we will take a first break at this time, but we will be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Dialogue with the Diaspora. I'm your host, Diane Haylock. Earlier, we spoke with someone who has embodied Belizean excellence via sports development. And now we turn our gaze to someone who has done so via music. Joining us now is the talented and enterprising Will Johnson of Radio Belize Mix. Will, welcome to our dialogue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ann. It's my pleasure being here with each and every one of you and the Belizeans and friends of Belizeans. Oh my goodness, I'm all excited right now.
So we cannot start our discussion without first hearing about your background. So please tell us about your roots back here in Belize.
Okay, well, I hail from the beautiful coastal town of Punta Gorda, PG, Paney. I grew up there as a little boy, learning all the things that I was supposed to from my parents. My mom, Rosita Lopez, married Johnson. My father, Isaiah Johnson, a mechanic. Everybody knew him as a mechanic back then. And from there, I moved on to living in Belize City for a while before I migrated to the United States.
So how long ago did you migrate to the U.S.?
I've been here since 2001, so I have like 20 years now. Since I've been here.
So when did you get into this DJing thing?
That's a long history. If we have the time, we're gonna do
a little bit of it. Tell us a little bit of it.
Okay, so my DJing actually started from when I was in high school in PG back in the days. I've always had an interest in music, not only as a DJ, but as a musician. And so I started DJing in high school for almost every party that they had in high school, and then also, in the surrounding areas in PG and Toledo. And then I moved to Belize City, served my country for 3 years as a BDF, as a soldier. And then after I served my country as a soldier, I decided to do radio, broadcasting. And that's where I continue as a broadcaster, journalist, and all that.
Okay, so you started doing the radio thing in Belize before you went to the U.S.
Yeah, I actually had the opportunity of working on CREM FM in the early 90s. Then I went to the Broadcasting Corporation of Belize, Friends of FM and Radio Belize. For a little while I was there, and then I took a little break, and I went, I would start working as a musician for Santino's Messengers. And then after Santino's Messengers, I had the opportunity to work at Channel 7 with Mr. Vasquez. And after television, I went back to FM 2000 for a little while, and then I went back to PG for a little break before I came to the United States.
Okay, so what was your inspiration for Radio Belize Mix?
For Radio Belize Mix, well, the thing is, here's the thing that a lot of people need to know. When you get here in the United States, be it if you come here legally or not legally, you're not going to start working immediately as people think it is. You're going to have to find something to do. And so I had two options, which was either I work as a musician or do radio. Well, I decided I was going to do both. So I decided I was going to do radio. So initially I started to DJ on what we call Second Life, which was an internet game for the European countries. And that's where I got introduced to internet and radio. And then when I started to do internet radio for the European countries, I was like, wait a minute, why am I spending so much time entertaining folks in France and England and all these places when I could be doing this for my own people? And so my radio station came about in 2010, called Radio Belize Mix, because I couldn't use Radio Belize. I had to use Radio Belize Mix, so I added the mix to it. And that's where it all started in 2010.
Okay. I know that a lot of Belizeans tune into Radio Belize Mix. For those who have not yet discovered it, what type of music can they expect?
Okay, here's the good thing. The Radio Belize Mix pretty much is a replica of the Friends FM back in its days, whereby we play a variety of music, all genres from reggae, soca, punta. Even at nighttime, you could get slow jam, jazz music in the morning, contemporary music, alternative music, country music. It's a little bit of everything. We grew up listening to all kind of music.
So what role do you see Radio Belize Mix playing in the Belize diaspora?
Okay, so here is where Radio Belize came into play. Before this internet thing exploded for the local stations in Belize that you can now hear on internet, Radio Belize Mix was the bridge to Belize. We started out by simulcasting Love FM's news every day when Radio Belize Mix started. And so folks who are not able to get the news from Belize were able to get the news because of Radio Belize Mix. Right. So they were able to listen. And not only that, when there was anything that was going on, like hurricane, if the hurricane was approaching Belize, we were right there 24/7 with Rene Villanueva, carrying the feed from Belize and giving our own input as to what the Belizeans are doing here in terms of, staying abreast of the situation in Belize,
So, Will, has the pandemic caused any impact on your radio program?
I am glad you asked that question. The pandemic has given me a whole lot more work, because folks are confined to their homes in the United States during the lockdown. Folks wanted an entertainment, and that's where I came in entertaining folks, because we did not just do radio then, we started to do video, and video took it to a whole different level. We have 5 years now since we have been doing video. The first 3 years on Facebook only, and then my son said to me, well, Dad, why don't you do YouTube and all the other medias? And so I decided to go on all the other different platforms, that being YouTube, Vimeo, and a whole lot more. So we have presently 3,750 subscribers since last year.
Excellent, excellent. How can people tune into Radio Belize Mix, Will?
Well, to tune into Radio Belize Mix, we have so many different ways for you to do so. I decided that I wanted to make it easy for folks to do so. We have our own website, which is belizemix.com. As soon as you go to belizemix.com, you hit the radio player, it starts playing. You can get it on your phone because we have our own app. We have the Radio Belize Mix app. We're also on several other apps like TuneIn Radio, Simple Radio. And of course, if people want to see the videos that we do, they could go to YouTube or Facebook, where there we have hundreds of shows that we have done on YouTube. And it's so easy for everyone to get Radio Belize Mix.
Do you have any final messages for our viewers at home tonight, Will?
For our viewers at home tonight, I just want to say to the folks at home, it is still important for us to continue to be aware of the situation as it is right now in terms of COVID. Here in the United States, folks are getting the vaccination. I have no idea what it's like back home yet, because I'm not sure if the vaccination has rolled out home. But I just want to say to folks, don't take anything for granted. On each and every one of my program, I do not end my program without saying, folks, you got to wear your mask, social distance, sanitize. And even if you get your vaccination, you still have to adhere to things that will keep you safe.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we do have to call it a wrap. So thank you so much, Will, for joining us tonight.
We appreciate you so much, and thank you so much for having me on your program.
And please keep up the good work.
I will.
Viewers, we now take a short pause for our final ad break. Viewers, thank you for staying tuned to Dialogue with the Diaspora. We had fun speaking with Cleon and Will, who have made us very proud with their philanthropy and skills. We certainly have much to gain from any partnerships we can pursue here at home with any of these two gentlemen. With that, though, our time is up for tonight. But we will be back again next Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on CBTV and on Facebook on Colorblind's page. Do enjoy the remainder of your night. Continue to social distance, wear your face mask, and remain vigilant. Good night, and take good care.